take off.
You ready? That's
Yeah,
all right.
Focus.
Yeah.
Focus. I was at work. All them conversations I had engaged.
Yeah. But it made you more thirsty than anything.
No, he wasn't even that. It's just trying to avoid, trying to stay in the right mindset right around Jake. I was ready to take off, so.
Yeah. You really got the right mindset with Jake, man. They nonsense talking. Yeah.
All right. First and foremost, I want to give all praises. I'm gonna let you put that. Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, the children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. We out here once again to let the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans know we're God's chosen people. We're the Israelites according to the Holy Bible. We come out week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom known as America, which is Babylon the Great according to the Holy Bible, and is ruled and ran by the so-called white man Esau Edom, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And we out here to proclaim the return of our Lord and Savior, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true ancient biblical name is Yahweh Shai. He's coming back to bring salvation unto the elect of the nation of Israel, and he's coming back to bring judgment unto the rest of the earth, including 2/3 of our people who refuse to return back to our Lord and Savior. There's going to be a lot of judgment coming onto the earth in these coming days. You know, as we see how we're in the Day of Atonement, you know, it's getting ready to wrap up. And just like at the beginning of the Day of Atonement, what you had the government shut down, you know, and as of right now, currently the government is still shut down. You know, there's no coincidence. Nothing that happens on the earth is ever a coincidence. Nothing that's going on the earth is a coincidence. Simultaneously, you had the Secretary of Secretary of Defense. He came out, alongside Trump, coming out with those speeches, you know, about all those generals, all those admirals and generals that they met up with. They basically told them what's the game plan. And the game plan is to bring war on the American citizens, you know, and not to mention that martial law is coming, which that ain't nothing new, because the men of the Lord have been prophesizing for these things, these events to come to pass for years now. It ain't no new thing to our ears, and it's nothing new when we hear about all these events that they planning on taking place. So we already warned the people that this was gonna come. So now we getting closer and closer to the days of just straight execution, you know. And they do consider certain people or certain Americans terrorists, you know. We best believe we are on the list, you know. Us as Israelites, we are on that list, and we are high up on that list, you know, because we are the main ones preaching and prophesying against this place and for the downfall of this kingdom, you know. And with all that, you know, all that being said, we know that they're going to come after us. You know, it's going to be a great insurrection on those that fear Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Right. You know, and the rest of the people too. Also too, I think we had mentioned this last week, how you got what was it in the UK? It's mandatory for all adults to have the digital ID, but then also too in Europe for U.S. citizens, you want to travel to Europe, you got to get your biometric scan. You got to get your face scan, and you got to get your fingerprint scan. Basically, your biometrics. All of this is coming. Then they got an app, ICE. You know, they got an app now where they can just scan your face or scan anything about you. You know, use their phone to scan you. They can find out any information about you that they want. All of this is coming out around the same time. This is how we know what time we living in and how bad it's finna get. This is how we know what time we living in, how bad it's finna get. Can you get second Esdras 9 and 1? And this ain't nothing new. Like I said, we've been prophesizing for all these things to come to pass. Started with our elders, started with their elders, all the way down to where we at now. You know, this ain't nothing new. Like I said, there's no coincidence that all this is happening simultaneously and around the Day of Atonement.
Here's 2 Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
Right. So like he said, measured out the time diligently within itself. We seeing all the signs that the Lord had told us that was going to happen. We seeing it all happening simultaneously, which we already been knowing it was going to happen. We've been seeing different prophecies come to pass over the years, but now it's amplifying. It's starting to get more and more intense because we can't forget everything that happened earlier in the years, especially since you had DJT come into office. Everything that's been going on has been just amplifying, and it's been getting worse and worse, and you're seeing more uproars of the people. You're seeing more and more uproars of the people. Things are starting to amplify, starting to get worse. Like I said, measure thou the time diligently within itself. And we seeing part of the signs that the Lord's return is on his way. And then not to mention, they keep coming out more and more with the chariot sights, or things that has been seen with the chariots. They're like the one that they had caught that passed by the sun. He had a whole chariot. They showed the sun and had a little black dot to, I guess, to block out, how bright it was. And then they had a huge chariot to pass right by. And the lady on there said it was in 10-minute increments. And I think it took like 10 minutes just for that chariot to pass by the sun. That's how massive it was. That's why she was saying it is massive. At one 10-minute mark, it was still passing through. And by the second time, about 20 minutes in, it was just at the end of it. And all that is coming to this earth, to this realm. That's what's coming.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
Right. What is that? Can you hold 2nd Esdras? I think it's 4, starting at like 22, if I'm not mistaken.
You want to jump to?
No. 2nd Esdras 4. Yeah, 2nd Esdras 4, starting at 22. You got it.
Verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings, and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs.
Right. Everything has a beginning, everything has an end. That's in the book of Sirach. I believe Ecclesiastes chapter 3. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time for something to be born, a time for something to die, a time for something to begin, a time for something to end. And what we living in right now is the end of the age of the Edomites. That's what we living in. Like you say in 2nd Esdras chapter 6, Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Immediately after Esau is taken out of power. That's why America's finna fall. And all these countries, not even just America, all these countries, all these nations and their power, they're finna lose it. That's Psalms chapter 2, we'll get there too.
I got a precept going back to what you were saying about the chariot.
Okay.
This is 2nd Ezra 6, and I'm going to start at verse 18. And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw near and visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled.
For example.
Well, going back to what the brother was saying, you know, the Most High about the chariot that was in 10-minute increments, you know, flying across the earth. You know, the Most High is visiting this place, you know, and his angels always been here, but you know, he's you know, whenever he comes, the earth quakes. We've been having earthquakes, volcanoes. The earth get really active when the Most High visits. You know, and going back to in Exodus, when he visited, you know, the whole earth trembled. You know, and the people were afraid. You know, they're like, we don't want him to come back. He just tell us what he wants. But you know, as he going into, the Most High is visiting, and he's doing an inquisition of all the things that have happened, or that has happened and happening now. And you know, he's been beginning to make judgment on those things, and on people, and on nations. You know, so, and this is one of the days, the Day of Atonement, that we ask for forgiveness of that. You know, the things we have done in the past, and you know, now that we may be justified on his day of visit when he comes.
Right, because too, since you spoke on the Day of Atonement too, because we asking for the, you know, the atonement of our sin, and remembering the sacrifice that Yahweh Shah made when he came down and died for our sin. Cause that was a, you know, that was a heavy load that he had to do. You know, he was coming down for the nation of Israel, and all he had to go through, all he had to experience and bear, all the way up into that led up into his death. You know, that was a heavy load. So we also remember, because he is the high priest. You know, he is the highest of priests, and he's in the heavens making you know, basically pleading for us and praying for us, you know, praying for our behalf to Yahweh B'Shem Avashah. So we also remembering, you know, like the sacrifice that Yahweh Shah made, because we ain't just asking for forgiveness for our sins just to go back and do it again. You know, just to go back into the same sins that we was doing that we needed to ask for forgiveness in the first place. But like he read in well, you can 6.
Yeah.
Like he read in 6, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, it said the Lord is visiting the earth, and because it's close, we getting closer and closer to the time of Yahweh Shah's return. So that's why it's more and more things happening on the earth that's making people really question, you know, what's really happening, what's really going on. But the answer's always been here from the men of the Lord. Is that internet?
Yeah, you know. I was just bringing out, talking about the chariot. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 4. You want a 22?
Yeah, start at 22 and read down to 28.
All right, this is 2nd Ezra 4 and verse 22. Then answered I and said, I beseech thee, O Lord, let me have understanding. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily. Namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathens, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations.
Right.
And
so,
why?
Go ahead.
And why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenant comes to none effect.
Right. So Ezra was basically trying to tell the Lord, you know, he wondering why the nation of Israel was in captivity, and it didn't look like we was finna have the kingdom of heaven bestowed upon us. You know, he was trying to figure out what was going on. Ezra asked a lot of questions, you know, but that's what the Lord wanted him to do, to inquire all these things, and that's what he did.
And we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will he then do unto his name whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hastens fast to pass away. And cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in times to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities.
Right, see, it said this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. And what the Lord was trying to, which he gonna explain it to him, but what the Lord was trying to get Ezra to see was everything was already on a set timeline. It had to get to a certain period, you know. And the Lord even went all the way back to Adam. That's where all of this started at. Where when Adam fell, it led all the way up into what we have to this day. You know, it's the lineage of the sons of God had fallen. You know, so what the Lord was trying to let Ezra know was, I'm gonna keep my promise, and everything that I said was gonna happen. But it's a lesson to be learned as what happens when you don't stay, you don't follow the path that was already set. You know, you don't stay on that righteous path. There was a lesson to be learned in that. And even just well, I ain't gonna say the smallest, but even just a little iniquity, look what it leads into.
But as concerning the things whereof thou asked me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
Right, so the evil is sown, but the destruction of it has not yet come. So the evil was sown all the way back in, but it had to get greater, and it had to get more and more intense on the earth. You know, even up until the time of what we're living in right now, modern day America. This is the time where the destruction is gonna happen. But the Lord wasn't gonna bring the kingdom of heaven prior to his time. America had to be established, and all the wickedness that went forth out throughout the earth had to happen under the dominion of America, westernization. All of that had to take place. And the other nations had to be affected by westernization as well. You know, like the scriptures say in Revelation chapter 18. Remember, this is over 2,000 years ago. So this before Yahweh Shai even came on the scene. So all the things that was meant to happen was supposed to happen.
You want me to keep going? That was
Yeah, keep going.
If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good.
Right, with righteousness. So this said, if the evil place is not that was sown in wickedness and it's not turned out of the way, then that which is righteous can't come. So basically, what the Lord was telling Ezra is, look, that wicked kingdom, that last wicked kingdom, has to be born, and it has to do what it's going to do on the earth, which is America, and spread forth the wickedness, and the earth is just going to get into a chaotic state. You know, the most chaotic state it ever been in. Unless that happens, you know, and then it be taken out the way, the righteous kingdom is not going to come. So this chapter 4, and 2 chapters later, the Lord is going to tell Ezra, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Because right now, Ezra is understanding that a wicked kingdom has to come. So he's going to eventually ask the Lord, well, when is going to be the end of the wickedness and the beginning of the righteous? And that's when the Lord going to tell him that. You can read one more, and then we'll go back to that.
For the grains of evil seeds have been sown in the hearts of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness had it brought upon this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing comes.
Right. So the Lord said, look, all the way back, this all started during the time of Adam with the serpent, Adam and Eve. That's where it all started. And just look at how much wickedness it brought just in your time. So how much more in the times far after you, Ezra, when it get worse and worse. And that's what the Lord was showing Ezra in chapter 13, 14, 15, 16, but primarily 15 and 16, well, 13, 15, and 16. This is what the Lord was showing Ezra then, you know, how much worse it's gonna get, and the mindset of the people. That's why Ezra said, woe is me who would deliver me in those days. Because Ezra understands that it's something far worse than what he living in, and a captivity far worse than what he living in that's got to take place. But he wasn't the only one. Daniel saw the same thing, and Daniel had the same reaction. John the Revelator saw the same thing in Revelations. He had the same reaction. So what had to happen was a wicked kingdom far worse than any kingdom on the face of the earth had to come about, which is what we're living in now. And now it's time for this place to be uprooted. And everyone that's everyone that's living right now, you know, that's destined to, cause you're gonna have people that be judged prior to Jacob's trouble and everything. But everyone, pretty much, this is that generation the Lord said He's gonna return in. So going back to that 2nd Ezra chapter 9, that's why He said, measure thou the time diligently within itself. When you see all these signs come to pass, know that this is the time that was spoken of. This is that generation that the Lord is gonna return in, that's gonna see the end of this age.
I have.
We're
We're going back to what's that?
That's what you break it down to.
This going back to the 2nd Ezra 9 in verse 5. Like I said, everything has a beginning and an end. And this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he worketh in that wherein he laboreth? And like the brother been going into, pretty much this scripture says it's the beginning and the end of everything. It's a time and place for everything. And like the brother stated earlier, it started all the way back in the garden. Wickedness was planted then, and now it's almost time for it to be plucked up. And it's going step by step. We're taking it day by day. We're getting to the point to where Esau Kingdom is going to get plucked up for the wickedness that was sown back in the garden. And like the brother says, it's been building up to this point. It's been slowly growing. It started all the way back then, started with the seed that was planted back in Eve, then it spread to Adam, then now it spread throughout the whole world. Esau had to build up. Like I say, it's a time. They started as that serpent and it then grew into that dragon. And now it's almost time for that dragon to be threw away. Will be done away with. Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world has the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings, and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
Right, so he said he has sanctified them for him for the beginning. So the elect had already been ordained from the very beginning. This same thing he told him in second, which you was in 2nd Ezra 6. But early in the chapter, he had already told Ezra, look, the elect, they already been sanctified for me. They already be predestined to be saved. So there's no free will. Everything is already predestined to happen. But the Lord has said, look, the way I do things. This is basically what the Lord telling Ezra. The way I operate I do things in signs and wonders. I send prophets, I send messengers before I do anything on the earth. Amos chapter 3. You know, before he do anything, he gonna reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. This is what he doing to Israel. And this is what he did unto us. You know? So he telling Israel, look, before I bring the end and bring the righteous kingdom, the earth has to get to a certain level of wickedness. First, we had to send Yahweh Shah, because what is it? You know, I've been quoting Ezra out, you know, since we've been out here. 2nd Ezra chapter 2. The Lord showed Ezra what it was gonna be like with the deliverance. You know, once the elect is in those chariots, he was like, Ezra had to understand this is the crowning ceremony. This is when all the kings of the nation of Israel, which is the elect, the men, they're gonna be getting crowned by Yahweh Shah. And Ezra is commending those who stood stiffly for the name of Yahweh Shah. But before that took place, they had to have something to stand stiffly for. It has to be a circumstance for them to stand so stiffly for it. You know? So that's what the Lord was telling Ezra. Look, this is gonna happen, but the reason why they're gonna be getting crowned and receiving palms is because of what they're gonna do in this most wicked kingdom, which is the kingdom we living in right now. So like I said, there's no coincidence that everything we seeing right now is taking place, because it's shocking to the American people, but this has been our whole life ever since we came into the truth, knowing that America's gonna fall one day, knowing that Esau Edom was gonna come after us one day, knowing that, you know, it was gonna be a World War III, a thermonuclear war one day. This what we've been preparing for. This what we getting our minds ready for this whole time. You know, alongside all the other information the Lord is revealing to us, but primarily knowing what's going to happen to our livelihood.
Yeah,
go ahead, you got something?
This is Revelation chapter 18. I'm going to start at verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Babylon the great is America, and it said it's fallen. It's become susceptible to every type of demon, every type of idol worship, every type of wicked imagination under the sun. This is the center. This is the what they say, the hub, yeah, the center hub of all wickedness that's going throughout the four corners of the earth. That you're gonna read down on it. All this got to spread throughout the four corners of the earth, because again, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, the Lord said the whole earth has been polluted. You know, the earth is exceedingly polluted. So that pollution had to come from somewhere, because the problems that these other nations are having, you see those problems spawned over here in America. They wasn't having American problems, but it's all through that ideology of westernization, feminism, you know, just everything that America has pushed through all this democracy. Now the other nations are having them problems. Now the other nations are just as mad as the people over here. You got it.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchant of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy.
Right. So, like I said, all the nations have committed adultery with her. So, all the leaders of these other countries, they've made deals with America. They've made agreements with America. They've dealt with her. You know, their country was able to sell their products, and you know they didn't have the best intentions. That's why even now they talking about the shrimp that come over here, and the bag shrimp, great value, whatever brand it is, it's radioactive. It got, I forgot the name of the chemical that said it's in it. It got some type of chemical that's radioactive in it. Being sold, being consumed by people over here. You know, and you know Israelites, cause Jake like to eat that. But that's why they didn't have their best interest. They were just making merchandise over here. But all the nations have dealt with America in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, Yahweh Shai has remembered her iniquities.
Right, her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High remembered all her iniquities, everything that's been done unto us, especially over here in Babylon the Great, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. You know, this man really has shed so much blood that, like, we can't even really imagine. Like, the punishment that the Lord is going to do to these Edomites, we can't even really fathom it right now. And that's just to repay them for all that they've done. Then the Lord say He gonna give them double for it. Like, we really can't even imagine how wicked these people really have been. And we probably done had 2-3 lifetimes over here in Babylon the Great. We come back every 3rd or 4th generation. You know, we've been in captivity under this man for over 400 years. So ain't no telling how many generations that truly is.
And if you think about it, it's always 2 ends to the spectrum. Like with Yahweh Shai, he did so much good and performed so many miracles, they couldn't even put them all in the book. Esau done did so much damn wickedness, you can't even get it all out there. So it's 2 ends to it.
Right. That's a good point. The Lord is just gonna remember. It's things that have been done in the dark that probably only a small percentage of people on the earth know about. You know, that have been done to our people. So small that it didn't get outside a certain town or a certain city, or it might have died in a certain time period. You know,
just like Esau when they CIA or FBI, whatever it is, like they agents, like when they like for an example, like when they killed Bob Marley, you know, Esau told that on his deathbed. It's some shit they actually take to their grave that you'll never know about.
Yeah.
It ain't no telling what all Esau did for real. Like, we only got so much of it. Like, you might hear something, they used the babies as gator bait, you know what I'm saying? They had a campfire, they hung one of us and then threw a picnic for it, you know, they had a big celebration. That's just something we know about. And no telling what they really did, well, how much worse they did.
But Bob Marley, he was was he a Jake or he
What was
He's a Jake.
Yeah.
His dad looked like an Edomite, but his spirit is a Jake.
Yeah, okay. You know, Jake, humble, made music, stayed out the way. You know, he smoked his little dope, you know about it. But he told on his deathbed that like he went to meet him or something like that. And he went to go shake his hand.
Yeah.
And say they got to think about it. Esau had that back then. He had like a needle or something. He had like in between, like a thumbtack. I forgot what it was. He shook his hand. It stuck him. It was like what they call like an isotope or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it ended up like breaking his body down.
breaking his body?
Yeah, it gave him cancer.
Right. So everything this man done, the thing about us being, well, the Northern Kingdom for one, and then 2, us coming over here on the ships, you know, just the voyage alone, you know how it's been millions of Israelites that didn't even make it over here, you know, during that time, you know, and then being over here, we only know bits and pieces of what you've done. The Lord got everything recorded, you know, but we in the time where the Lord is finna advocate. He's advocating. I ain't finna. He's advocating for His nation. He advocating for the elect of His people. But Esau, you're not gonna have nobody to advocate for you. Like, just like everybody on earth, nothing on earth was on our side when we was in captivity. But Yahweh Bashim Awashai still had mercy on us. And now we back connected with Him. For you, nobody's gonna be on, nothing in existence is gonna be on your side. Like, literally everything in existence is gonna be against you. You know, that's a feeling that we'll never feel. And we ain't even concerned about it. We don't care about you.
And like it said in Ecclesiastes and Esdras, you know, it's a beginning and the end. And they go for wickedness too. You know, wickedness started all the way back in the garden. And it started at like I say, that's the beginning of it. And then it built its way up into the heavens all the way up until now. Like the example with Bob Marley, they ain't had that type of information technology back then. They didn't work their way up to poisoning people, giving them cancer, making guns, making bombs. They didn't build their way up. So now it's time for it to get plucked up.
Right.
Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh Shai has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she has filled to her double.
Right. Can you hold or can you get Lamentations 4 21 and 22 real quick.
We get up.
I got it.
You said you had some, right? Oh, okay.
And I just thought about it because I just see it's a beginning and end. Like I say, wickedness began all the way back then. It started with a lie. And now they got all these weapons of mass destruction. And even after a while, the wickedness is going to be gone. There's going to be an end to it. But it ain't never going to be an end to righteousness.
Yeah. All right.
All right, this is Lamentation 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughters of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. For the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked.
Right. See, the cup is gonna pass into you, like you said. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and reward her double. So the same pain that we had to feel coming under your rulership, because I don't even want to just talk about the north the southern kingdom, just coming under your rulership in general as Israelites, northern and southern kingdom. The same pain is what you Edomites are about to feel over here in Babylon was what you're feeling, not even what you're about to. It's just gonna continue to amplify. A lot of Edomites are suffering, and those government assistants, they tried to make it seem like Jake was the only ones on it, or Jake was the majority of the ones on it, but it was more Edomites on the government assistance than it was Jake. It still is. But now they done slashed the benefits, in half. You got certain women that was getting like $4,000 or $4,400 a month. They down to $38 a month. They really slashing how much money you get. And the Edomite, the American people in general, but Edomites, you really feeling how hard it is to live in Babylon the Great. But the Israelites been feeling that this whole time, and this only the beginning. Like you ain't even fully out of your kingdom yet. You already feeling the pain, and you already feeling the curses. Cause brother channel GMS Watchman, he had uploaded a video. I think maybe Monday or so. It was one of these days, Monday or Tuesday. It was this. He named it like Unhinged. I forgot exactly how. It was an Edomite cop. He was terrorizing some young Edomite boys. Pulled a gun out of them on them and everything. They were screaming for help, screaming for their mama, and he was harassing them for no reason, or seen with no reason. But he pulled a gun out on them. They were like probably early teenagers. They weren't even older than 18.
Yeah, they were middle school. They had to be like
You seen
12, 13
I
years.
seen.
Yeah.
They got book bags on, walking with like they little uniform on.
Yeah.
What the hell you putting the gun on them for?
Yeah, I think it was 3 of them. It was something like that.
I don't see two of them.
Or 2 of them, yeah, something like that. One recorded, another one. So you Edomites are already starting to feel just a small taste of the curses.
Terrorizing each other. Also like,
Go ahead.
no, I'm just say terrorizing each other.
Right. The sword is using itself. He using the sword on his own self. But you can go ahead.
All right, verse 22, it says, the punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquities, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins.
Right. So this always been the plan of the Lord for Esau to be the end of the world, Jacob to be the beginning of it that followed. And Ezra had to understand this, just like we had to understand it. Because we started questioning, why we still under this man, why we still under Esau, when the Lord coming back, but we had to understand the plan. We need Yahushua. We need Yahushua to come back. He came back to die for the sins of the nation of Israel the first time. Now he's coming back to redeem the elect from the judgment the Lord bringing on the earth the second time. Coming back to again fulfill his purpose. That has always been the plan for Yahushua to come and save his people. Each and every time he came, each and every time he come to the earth. Well, I say those 2 times he came to the earth.
And I guess the scriptures say all these other countries and nations, they done drunk of the wine of Babylon. They done got drunk, but In Babylon, they drunk off their own wine. They starting to expose themselves. Brothers say that they've been saying that for a while now. America just got sloppy. They say they tacky. Just like when anybody else, you go out, you had too much to drink. At some point, you get that, like they proud. They didn't hit that point of being proud. They loose. They feeling good. Now they at the point they throwing up. Like they, what they say, they vomit. What they say, a drunken man standing in his own vomit.
Right.
And they starting to fall into their own stuff now. All the traps they done laid out, they like the example you gave with Esau and him, they starting to fall into their own snare. All these other nations, they done been drunk of the wine, but they starting to sober up now. And America's still drunk on their own bullshit.
Yeah, because you got leaders of the other nations. They banning certain things from America or certain ideologies from America, and trying to put their country back in order, but they don't have it. They can't get it all the way right. For one, it's too much damage that's been done, and then two, that's not their job to do. That's starting with Yahweh Shah and 144,000. That's their job to get the earth back in order. And once the earth is back in order, we gonna expand. We gonna spread the order of Yahweh Shah to every planet that we own. You know.
Yeah, you know, like today, I think they say it started at midnight. You got another shutdown. There ain't gonna be no damn shutdown in Israel, man.
Right.
And so I think then both of them, or all of them that happened under DJT, or one of them happened under what's his name?
I think the last time it was under Trump.
Which one that happened on shut down. Yeah.
He done had like the most of them, man.
Well, you probably. I don't know.
And it crazy it happened on the Day of Atonement. That when the news it came out like yesterday, but I forgot to send it. But one of y'all had sent it. Hey man, we gonna see what happened next. And while we trying to make it.
They talking about it shutting down imminent.
Yeah. I'm about to say we making.
No, it's shut down.
No, I'm talking about imminent. It's imminent.
You know, you're gonna go level by level with with sections they close out. And stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. We over here trying keeping the Day of Atonement, and they over here shutting down on their side.
Right.
Everything starting to reverse. So it's almost time to go home.
All the sacrifices we making for Yahweh Shah, like the brother said, he gonna avenge. What they say, now it's time for the servants and the prophets to receive their reward. You know, cause this place been drunk out the blood of the saints forever, man. You know, for years, for hundreds of years,
Like forever.
they've been shedding our blood. You know, like it's nothing. But now it's time for them to pay.
That's right.
This is 2nd Esdras chapter 6, start at verse 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up on my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth.
Right. Came back again.
Huh?
No, go ahead. It comes right back up.
Yeah. It's,
Like you said, the Lord he's drawing nigh. So Lord brought it back out for a reason, because he put emphasis on him drawing nigh to the earth. You know, with all the judgments, with all the chariot sightings, with the madness, with the people losing their mind. You know, but at the same time, with the elect being more and more in order. Because at one point we wasn't at this stage. But just look at how much further we grown. Like the brother said, by the rest of the world doing the things of the world, you know, we in the mindset of keeping the Day of Atonement and what is meant, you know, why we doing it. You know, this what we focused on, because we really want that exemption when the time of judgment comes, or the time of threshing, as it says Esdras 4, 2nd Esdras 4, that time of threshing, we really want exemption.
And you gotta think about all the men, women, and children just keeping the Day of Atonement. All the prayers going up at the same time, all the wanting to go home, bring it down, fall to America. Hey, and the message getting back to you how about Yahweh Shah, man. He working.
Praying for each other and praying for yourself, you know, and ultimately praying for the nation.
that's right.
Were you done what you were going to do?
I can go.
If not, we can get out of
I had made it down to 6 or 7, something like that. I go down to
And we,
like
be,
10.
and we begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled.
The Lord is making a thorough investigation of everything that's going on. And these Edomites are starting to get more and more bold of putting their hands on the Israelites. You know, they're getting more and more bold. Remember, as the scriptures say, in Daniel chapter 12, at that time Michael shall stand up. The angels, our brothers, you know, in the heavens, starting with Yahweh Shai and the angels, they ready. They just waiting for the Lord to give them the go ahead to come down and bring judgment on these other nations, especially you Edomites, because they don't like to see their brothers and their sisters being tormented by you. You know, even though we know 2/3 of our people gonna be judged, you ain't gonna get away with that, because our people gonna come back in the kingdom of heaven. They still Israelites. And furthermore, even more so, if they had that feeling about the elect, how much about the the nation in general, how much more the elect?
Like they got their saying now, you know, the YNs, they be having their saying, but the angels ready to slime Esau out, man.
Right.
They ready to get busy. Especially Yahweh Shai, how they did him. And I say even with that, you probably still can't fathom what all they did to him. You probably only got a portion of what they actually did to him.
Right.
And he ready to come in. He ready to get his get back too.
And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together.
Right. The books are open before the firmament. That's how you read seeing on the internet, and we got it on our phones.
And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children, 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
Right. Sown places appear unsown. Full storehouses eventually appear empty. So your grocery stores, your all your store, your farm. Well, I don't want to say that word.
Retail. Retail.
Yeah, your retail stores. I don't want to say the actual word. You know, your CVS, the back of CVS, the back of Walgreens, all those type of stores, and all the products is eventually gonna be empty.
Illegal drug dealers.
Right. And your necessities, you know, your hygiene products, all that is gonna eventually be over with.
And they done gave you a try run at that already. And it happened twice.
Right.
It happened one time.
I think it happened like twice. Some was with the tissue. Now the other time it might have been like some type of system or something that was finna happen with gas. It was something.
Something with the gas, and then we had the like that was like for the weather or something like that. And everybody was rushing up in there trying to get it there because everybody lagged behind on when the plan came through.
Yeah.
So
Everybody was trying to get tissue.
Yeah, after a while it's gonna hit and it ain't gonna bounce back.
But it shut down the ports,
Oh yep.
you know, which caused that
Yeah.
mad rush on everything. People started hoarding a lot of stuff.
And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall suddenly be afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein.
Right. They said friends shall fight together like enemies. So you gonna see civil war. You gonna see wars breaking out over here amongst the normal people. You know, it's gonna be straight chaos. Ain't gonna be no trust. Ain't gonna be no love. Yahweh Shai already told us that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
And it's already happening now on a small scale. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see it more and more, but it's still small compared to like the grand scheme of things. But it's something that came out today that I saw, but I gotta read up on it some more. But I forgot. I think that was cousin. Jake had shot his cousin in the face with a sawed-off, and then lit him on fire. then,
just popped in my phone a second ago.
yeah, and then they said like the neighbors had reported he had said, I told you to stop playing with me, so I don't know what it was over. Like what I was about, but yeah, these people that you probably grew up with, same house, sleeping in their grandma's house together, now you shot them in the face with a shotgun and lit them on fire. Right? Yeah, you do make you that damn man.
It was another case I was seeing earlier. Brother had uploaded. This was more so about adultery. It was the E. She was messing with I think he was a Northern Kingdom. He was like 61. She was 31. She had a husband and a 1-year-old child. The husband was 31, Jake. And whatever had happened, she was taking money from him, probably messing with him on the side. He was trying to tell her to leave her husband. She wouldn't do it. So that made him mad. He winded up shooting the man in the back of the head. He killed the man, he killed her, and he killed her baby. They said how he killed her. He confessed to everything. He took her to a undisclosed location, shot her in the back of the head, and then he took the 1-year-old baby and threw it in the water and let it drown. You know, and when he got caught, he confessed to everything. He didn't, he didn't care. And they said he never had a prior record or anything. So these people, they're really going insane. You know, of course there was adultery, so it was much wickedness in that situation. But you would think, he'll probably judge her. The man, I think the only reason why her husband got judged, because he was confronting the dude, but then he killed the baby too. The 1-month-old baby had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, he had the picture.
Or what?
What I was talking about, but I had found the video. That man like he's like he's
No.
50s and 60s.
Let me get back to it. There it is.
And killed the man too.
No, he killed his
It's a
cousin.
life plus 20, so yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm telling you about Jay.
So the springs of the fountain should stand still, and in 3 hours they should not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world.
Right, so the elect are the ones that's going to escape and see the salvation of Yahweh by Hashem Shah. It's always been the plan.
And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning.
Right. So the Lord let Israel know, look, it's going to be Israelites during that time that don't even die. They just going to be given the new bodies, upon deliverance. They ain't going to die.
For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared.
And that's the time we in now. The truth is being declared, and everything that comes with this man's kingdom falling, we literally living through it. We're living throughout the whole experience of the Edomite empire being destroyed. And that's a blessing to actually see the downfall of your enemy.
This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she had filled to her double. How much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Right. But the American people are experiencing this now. They've been living lavishly. That's all nations, all nationalities over here, including Israelites, been living lavishly. This is mainly Esau, Edom's destruction. We're just gonna have Jake that get caught up in it. But now they gotta receive a torment, Now it's time, just as much as you was living lavishly off of the backs of the Israelites and these other nations, now you gotta experience that same judgment.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua who judges her.
Right, and then it said that she should sit a widow and not know the loss of children. But that's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be so many troops that get put to death. You know, so many men that die in this war because they literally been pushing war. That's to get your mind up for war. That's what they've been telling their generals. Look, we in the mindset of war. We ain't in the mindset of nothing else. We don't give a damn about the state of America or the American people. We in the mindset of war. We gonna win the war. That's their mindset. So they finna experience all of that. And read that verse again.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua who judges her.
Right, so this is what the people over here in America is finna experience. Death, mourning, famine, and then being burned by those thermonuclear missiles. That's the judgment for the modern day, most Americans over here.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
And that's how fast the Lord is gonna make a swift destruction of this place. And guess what? While they on earth watching everything transpire, you're gonna have the elect in the sky and the chariots. However far out we be, you know, Lord will we are that number. However far out the elect be in those chariots, they gonna be watching it too, rejoicing. You see, they say they mourning. The elect is gonna be rejoicing. You know, two different mindsets. And when the elect come back down on earth, everybody is getting put into captivity. Everything is getting put under the order of Yahweh Shai. That was the end of that.
Yeah, unless you want to keep going down.
Y'all got anything else y'all want? On that note, we gonna close out. Lord will us an edifying lesson. The Lord will everybody had a good fast. So on that note, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Rakakwadash.
double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing His word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping His word of sincerity and the truth. We hope this lesson was edifying. Until next time, we say Kwam Yasha'Allah.
Kwam Yasha'Allah.
Ba ba.
Ba ba.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Get that over.